Here we are in the lockdown, episode 13. Today we welcome former Socceroo A-League record-setting champ and Melbourne Victory footballing superstar Archie Thompson. Thanks for coming on the show, bro.
No worries, bro.
It's mate. I kind of wanted to say it to you before we started, but I'm a very big fan, right? So
No.
I've grown up in country Victoria from Mildura.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
I'm Turkish heritage, so as you probably know, playing in those Melbourne leagues, it's basically religion, soccer. So it's how we've been brought up. Love the AFL, love my rugby league, but I was brought up on soccer.
Yeah.
And mate, huge fan of yourself. The way you come on the scene, what you've done for Australia, Melbourne Victory. But one thing set me apart and made me. I got a real good liking for you. I watched you play. I think Del Piero in 2013, 2014 at SFS, right?
Yeah.
Did you come on at halftime, or you didn't start the game, did you? Or you can't remember?
I can't remember, no.
Mate, there was this kid. I was sitting on the halfway line front row. There was a kid 4 seats away from me.
Yep.
You come on. I'm pretty sure you came on at halftime or something happened.
Yeah.
And this 12-year-old kid gets up and said, "You suck, Archie." And mate, it was that fucking loud. You were about 10 metres away, right?
Yeah.
Anyone else would have blew up or give a bit of a dirty. You turned around, you looked at him, you just started giggling, right?
Yeah.
And me and the missus then go, "What a great bloke!" Like, you took it as it was. It was cute because the kid was only about 12-year-old.
Yeah.
And you took it as a grain of salt. And that's so. A lot of the questions we're going to go over today are going to be some issues you might have had. And to be honest, I'm very on side with you because of that incident. I know you can't be that much of a prick if you act like that.
Yeah.
So, mate, what are you up to at the moment? Obviously, you got 2 kids. You live in Melbourne, is that correct?
Yeah. No. Look, I'm divorced now. Well, separated. Working on divorce. Now that I've got a bit of time in isolation, I might as well get that done. So they live in the Gold Coast, and they're 17, turning 18. My girl, and my boy's 14, turning 15. Just moved in with my beautiful girlfriend Sonia. She's got 2 young ones that have a week on, week off. So, man, life's great for me, man. I'm pretty happy. I've found the girl of my dreams, and I've settled down a lot, and man, just enjoying life and happy.
How hard is it with a 17-year-old? I got a 17-year-old as well.
Yeah, shit hard, man. Like, cause my girl's, I love the way that my girl is because she's she doesn't follow she beats the drum, like, what is it?
Beats her own drum. Walks the bit of her own drum, yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the sort of shit I fuck up on when I'm at Fox. So people are just used to be like fucking up all these cliches. But look, and that's what I love about it. She goes to like a music school in Brisbane. She's got all the, got a couple of tats, got the earrings, got the shaved head, blonde, bleached hair, writes music, sings. She's awesome, and my boy's a bit of a gamer, loves his gaming, and that's their thing. I support it. No, look, my boy did, but probably as many people that you've spoken to that have kids, is that like especially the ones that have been professionals, is that you don't want to push them, and you try to just sit back, but there's always that added pressure of being the son or the daughter of someone that's maybe done a little bit in a particular sport. So that's always hard and a bit of a burden. But you just try to I've always been that if you love it, continue, and I'll do whatever I can to help you achieve what you want to achieve. Because my dad did it. Maybe he did it in a way that I didn't want to do it because, he forced a lot of things onto me. But I'm grateful that he did because I wouldn't have achieved what I've achieved if I didn't have that push. But I'm a little bit different when it comes to the way that I try to nurture my kids in whatever they want to do. But they play football. To be honest, I reckon my girl could have probably, if she really concentrated on the football, she could have probably gone on and done a lot. My boy's got a lot of talent, but just never really had the drive. He just wanted to chill, and I'm cool with that too.
Yeah. Mate, you're from. I did some research. Like, I've been interviewing all the people I know. So the last 3 interviews have been people I don't know. Yeah. Personally. So it's been really interesting doing a bit of research on you. And again, I know your career, but the exact dates and exact particulars are right behind me. But
Yeah.
mate, I always thought you're Indigenous. You're all from New Zealand and Papua New
Well,
Guinea.
yeah, well, mate, I'm Indigenous because I'm like, I'm Indigenous to PNG. Like, Indigenous, I feel like it's not a word that just associates Indigenous with Aboriginals here in Australia.
Yeah,
Indigenous is like to any native country. So for me, it's like I'm lucky that I feel like that I have an Indigenous blood to PNG,
yeah,
to New Zealand, and to all the brothers that I have here. Like, I mean, I grew up in country, New South Wales. I've grown up in the country in Victoria.
yeah.
So I've got a lot of Indigenous friends, and even someone like Jade North, who is Indigenous. I don't know if you would have obviously maybe have heard of him, but
Yeah.
he's like, he's like, what could you say an Indigenous player is in NRL? That's like, would you say it's the
Latrell
top dog?
Mitchell. Yeah,
Yeah.
Latrell
Oh,
Mitchell.
but
Yeah.
even beyond that,
Bigger, yeah.
like
Jonathan Thurston. Yeah,
Jonathan Thurston,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
he's like the Jonathan Thurston of football, and I'm really close friends with him. So, man, I like, we're at the end of the day, man, we're all the same. We're all
Yeah. That's
we all piss and shit the same, bro.
yeah.
But so I'm Indigenous to that. But yeah, but look, I call myself Australian because I was 5 weeks old when I was born in New Zealand and came to Australia.
Yeah,
So,
okay, okay.
mate, yeah, yeah. So that's me.
You said country New South Wales. Where
Yeah,
did you go? Bathurst?
yeah. Bathurst, grew up in Bathurst, but also grew up in Albury-Wodonga.
Oh,
So,
yeah, over here.
yeah. So like yourself, man, growing up in the country, you get an appreciation of sport because that's like big in the country. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's a lot of people's outlets, and especially young people growing up. That's a way of kind of um, doing shit, connecting with people and whatever. So, man, for me, growing up in Albury-Wodonga, was like I'd come from a big family. Mum and dad played football. I have three brothers and two sisters. We all played soccer, and we
Yeah,
all jumped in the Ford Falcon, man. And that was our weekend, pretty much for most of my childhood. So,
yeah, yeah.
so I loved it, and being a country boy, you get to appreciate it because it's those clubs and those people that form those clubs in the country are forever just long life friends. You know what I mean?
It is a different, mate. Yeah, only people from the country understand the mentality
Oh,
and the
oh,
culture of the country. It's man, everyone's your best
yeah,
mate. Yeah,
yeah,
never a
yeah,
drama. It's
man.
always everyone helps. It's
Right.
fucking great culture.
Yeah, it is. And my mum still lives in Albury. My dad and mum still live in Albury-Wodonga.
Yeah,
Separated, just live up, probably a stone throw from each
yeah.
other. And mate, I have to get out. I have to go back and spend sometimes a weekend if I can, when I can, because fuck, man, it's like you go there and there's no noise. Mum's on a little acre that's just out of town, and
Yeah.
it's like sometimes you get the best sleep of your life because there's no noise. It's just calming and everyone's friendly. You know what I
It's
mean?
a,
And
it's a very good joint. I've
well, Mildura, you said you're from Mildura,
I'm from
so
Mildura, but I've been to Albury a lot too, and
yeah,
I was there
yeah,
only about 2 3 years ago, most recently.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
mate, it's basically a larger Mildura, but it's just
yeah, yeah.
fucking quiet as relaxed.
Oh,
Um,
beautiful, man,
and it's
beautiful. That,
coming from the big city when you're from the country and you move to the
yeah,
city. It's
yeah,
always good to go home. Yeah, it's always good.
100%,
Yeah.
100%, man, 100%, hundred
Well,
percent.
buddy, you talked about Bathurst.
Mm.
You made your NSL debut for the Gippsland Falcons. Were they
Yeah.
Gippsland or Morwell? They're Morwell.
Uh, at the time it was Morwell.
Yeah.
Then it became Gippsland. Yeah. So the way
Man,
that popped up,
fucking
man.
tragic for NSL, right? I grew up in
Oh,
Mildura, so all we had was SBS,
yeah.
ABC, and Channel 9. That's it.
Same,
And
man.
so fucking NSL was life for us, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was mine, man, too. So like I grew up watching a lot of, not watching it, but as much, but only highlights on SBS on whatever it was, a
Yeah,
Sunday. They'd show glimpses of games or highlights from games that
yeah,
were played, and you kind of you had you're seeing a little bit of it, but then you grew up with the club. And when I started breaking into you have to start somewhere, and I was lucky enough that the opportunity came up that I was at Morwell Falcons, and
yeah,
I took that, and man, then all of a sudden, like being a country kid, sort of hearing about these clubs, and then I'm playing against Marconi, I'm playing against Melbourne Knights, I'm playing against South Melbourne, like you know, Sydney United. Like these are massive clubs, and also too, like the players that have gone through those clubs or played for those clubs that have gone on and played Socceroos or overseas.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal, man. And like you would know, like everyone that's grown up in that era and played in that era knows that the quality of player back then to what is now, like you can't beat what was back then, you know. And the opportunity was so greater because there was so much more clubs. And if you wanted to go and trial somewhere, and if you were good enough, you can go and trial somewhere. I feel like with A-League, you can't. Like it's plays because it had such a slim roster, and then it's so hard to find managers within the A-League that really have faith in some of the players that are playing in some of these lower leagues here in Australia. Yeah. So the first option they think about is like going overseas and rather nurturing maybe or giving someone that's maybe been in and around, so people have heard about them, the opportunity to go, you know, like, because I've seen it with Andrew Naboot, for instance, is a great great one. He was playing a bit of local, maybe thought he missed his time. Just take someone to have a bit of faith in him, and you know, and obviously it's down to his hard work, and he does it. So I mean, I'm pretty lucky that I got to play with and see some of the players back in the old NSL, man.
Well, you played at Morwell, you played at Carlton, Marconi, like, and this is the next question, mate. You talked about it before. That mate, it was fucking crazy back in the day. They were so passionate. It was ethnic based, predominantly, right? Yeah. But it was so passionate. Like the Marconi versus Hellers game, or you said it, Melbourne Knights versus Sydney Croatia, or mate. Yeah. And it was so ethnically based that there was so much passion. It's unheralded. Like you don't see it. What do you think the difference now is with the A-League and NSL was? Do you believe a greater, a more love of a sport? Is there something that could have become better on Fox? Do you reckon, or do you think that's kind of killed the game a little bit?
Well, look, to be honest, I feel like, okay, we want to try to get away from the ethnic side of things, but that's what's built cultures in teams here in Australia. Is like, you know, the Croatians, the Greeks, the Italians that have migrated here, and they've started these clubs, and they've started these clubs with the passion that they've brought over from Europe. And, you know, okay, there's been a lot of fighting in Europe, and sometimes that obviously old history, you know, relives itself in sport, and especially when it comes to football. But man, it's you can't take that and put it into a manufactured or a brand new league and expect it to be something that like history was, and especially the old NSL, man. Because I remember going as a Morwell Falcon player, going to Melbourne Knights and being black, and like, you know, the Croatian Melbourne Knights. That was scared.
I was massive Knights fan, huge Knights fan.
Me too, man. Like me too. Go. Yeah, Mark Leduc is the god for me. And going to Somerset, man, like being a little black fella, they're not scared to say you're a black fella. And every time you get the ball, there's a lot of chance that, you know, maybe these days are obviously not, you know, politically correct, but then you become you get thick skin from it. But mate, intimidating. Like I've never gone to places with A-League and felt intimidated at all. Yeah, going back from Morwell Falcons or a Carlton or a Marconi, going to some of these like Sydney United or Adenza Park or Marconi Stadium, or going to South Melbourne or Melbourne Knights, mate, it's intimidation. Like it's a different feel. It's passion. It's what football is, because it's been brought over from Europe. It's, you know, it's amazing. Can't get that.
I've been to 3 grand finals myself personally. I think I watched when Sydney got over you guys 2000. I don't think you were playing 2017. I think it was. 2017.
Yeah.
You weren't playing back then, were you?
No. We retired the year before.
I went to watch Dwight. They beat you at the 2005 when Dwight York was there. Is that right? 2004 or 5?
That's the first year they won the actual.
Yeah. So you came 06, right?
Yeah, we won 06, 07. Sydney won. And so yeah, I'll like so that's the game we no. What do we do?
I think it was 05. They won the inaugural 04-05, and I think you guys won the 05-06. 05-06.
They won 05-06.
Okay, you got 06-07.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
I went to 1994. I went the grand final. No, 93. It was Marconi versus South Melbourne at Parramatta Stadium, NSL grand final.
Man.
And Andy Harper scored a penalty in the 80th minute, right?
Yeah.
You see, I'm a 12-year-old kid, and I will never forget 1 minute of that game. Whereas the other two I went to, and watching Dwight York was unbelievable. And I'm a big Sydney FC fan, right? I still go to the game. I don't know why I go, but I still go.
Mate, they play the best football, bro. They're actually good to watch.
Hard at the moment, is it? It's not hard in A-League. The passion from that 93, I think, grand final, I'm pretty sure it was, to now is ridiculously fucking altered. It is nowhere near what it used to be. And do you think that, look, we're going to go into this as well. The A-League has their own financial fucking problems. It's very open and it's very transparent in the media. Do you think that loss of culture and that passion is what's fucked up the game in Australia? Like, mad Socceroos are killing it. Australia goes nuts. But by the Socceroos, there's nothing really here that's keeping everyone attached to the game, or the Premier League a little bit, obviously, is interesting. But do you think that passion that's been lost in the A-League is the reason why soccer's dwindled in this country?
Yeah, I feel like that too, yeah. But to be fair, man, the first probably 10 years, 11 years, even maybe a little bit even more, it's like it was actually exciting. It was there was good crowds, there was good football. I mean, there was quality players. I wouldn't say sometimes the football was great, but the quality of players were better. And I felt like it was good because it was brand new and new. But the thing is that, man, with anything, you got to evolve and try to make things better to attract people. And I felt like we got comfortable in what we were giving, and it just plateaued. And then that's when everyone starts to lose interest, and don't have the same excitement. And sometimes, and then the quality of footballer and football starts to dwindle. And I think that's been the case for the last probably 3 or 4 years with the A-League, and it just now, maybe with this whole shit that's going on with this virus and it gives us an opportunity to go, okay, we've been thinking about putting something new out and changing the game a little bit to try to put fans on seats again and excite football fans. And this is the opportunity to do it. And, it's because now I'm telling you, after this, people are going to have more of appreciation to the little things that they took for granted. You know what I mean?
100%.
So this is the perfect opportunity for it. But but with anything, man, you need people to invest in it. You need people to bring out Del Pieros. You need, there was talk about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Man, just the talk of him was exciting, and everyone's all of a sudden like, but then it doesn't happen, and then we're bringing players out that nobody knows. Not saying that they're not quality players, because they are, but man, if we're going to excite people and we want to bring people in, we need Zlatan Ibrahimovic. We need someone to go, okay, bang, let's try and bring out a big name. And but like anything, man, it comes down to money, and it's a bit hard. It's actually hard across all codes. I mean, I'm at Fox, and the amount of cuts before this whole virus thing came out and was, man, huge, and production to even promote the game was non-existent, man. And that's again across every sport, like NRL. Like, I mean, NRL, like, it's a massive sport in New South Wales and Queensland. Like, and they're obviously making cuts, and you got AFL that okay, maybe a little bit the exception, but still, like, it's happening across the board. But like I said, I feel like this is an opportunity, man. We need to do something about it, and I feel like we are, man. I feel like there's something going to happen.
Your answer is a really, really good answer, because you said it perfectly. It was a little fun, going out to watch. I obviously went to Sydney FC games, and watching them play yourselves or Western Sydney Wanderers for that first 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, Western Sydney.
It was Yeah, you
Super
had your
games.
block and they're going
Mm.
off and screaming. It's dwindled. And I
Yeah.
think what you said is perfect is it's because they got content or complacent
Mm.
and they thought the product was fine and we have the greatest rivalries in football, even all codes at the moment, Western
Yeah.
Sydney FC or
Yeah.
Victory versus City.
Fiddy,
Oh, it's
yeah.
and so for those two rivalries, I think they got too complacent and then done
Mm.
nothing about it, and it's kind of
Yeah.
plateaued and now it's started to dwindle.
Oh,
Um,
100%, man. Like I obviously do a lot of games now, and I go to with Fox, and I go to some of for instance, like a Big Blue when it comes to Sydney and Victory, and as much as the Melbourne Derby was big, that match used to be huge and crowds and and I'm looking at it, going, man, what's going on? I mean, I got excited to go and watch a game and feel like there's going to be an atmosphere. And I'm looking at the stands and I'm thinking, are these guys going to come in soon, or what's happening? And it might be prices of tickets, it might be a lot of things, but or just this day and age that people can't afford it. But that's the sort of thing that's happening at the moment, and sad, but it's across all codes, brother.
it is. I'm
Mm,
very heavily involved with Australian rugby,
mm,
and
mm.
I know the Fox management really well. Steve Crawley,
Yes,
a
Steve,
good mate
yeah,
to myself. I know them
yeah.
pretty well,
Well,
real
tell
well
him not
actually.
tell him not to like I'm contracted to next year, so give
Wait
him a
till
good
you're out
word, mate. Make
there.
sure you
Four
let him
more
know.
years.
No, he's a ledge. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. But
That's
that's
good.
man. But that's everyone, man. It's a bit
Yeah.
tense at the moment with sport when it comes to Foxtel, because I see it from both sides. I mean, I see that. Well, if you've got no content and if there's no revenue and you're pumping all this money and clubs are getting complacent or don't want to kind of work with you, what's the point in putting money in? You
Well,
know?
it's the streaming system's been the largest issue with any
Mm.
sport. Yeah, you've gone from I want to watch rugby league or I want to watch soccer, and so I need to get Fox Sports and pay $40 a month and then
Mm.
whatever to I pay KO $10 a month and I can
Yeah.
watch what the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's Fox were forced into doing this because people were so interested. They didn't want an outside competitor, and then
Mm.
as Optus has and taking the Premier League and paying overs and getting these subscribers off them, and they go bust. And mate, right now they're on their bare asses, mate. They got nothing left, Fox. It's a
Mm.
pity because our games actually run off their television revenue. So
Yeah.
we need to fix something. And A League is one of those, like rugby, is one of the major codes that look like they're really going to struggle over the next 5 or 10 years. So I
Yeah.
hope it
100%.
changes and people like
Yeah.
yourself need to be more heavily involved with the processes
Yeah.
because
Well,
you are in
I
media
think what
and it needs to be
yeah.
out there.
Yeah, well, I feel like that a lot of us aren't utilised, like in maybe positions where we have got a say and maybe people will listen. You know what I mean? It's like Bosnich has a big say in a lot of things, but there's so many players out there that want to say the same thing, man. Like
Yeah.
it's like, but give us platforms to say it. You know what I mean? It's like it's hard, and you want to be able to give your opinion because you've been in the game long enough to kind of know. I feel like the guy that's obviously doing with FFA at the moment, that's the CEO.
Yeah.
I feel like he's got a great football brain, man. He's worked in and about FIFA, so he knows, man, that what needs to be done. Just shit that this thing came along when it did, because I feel like there was already some things in place to kind of work to improving our game. And one thing was grassroots football. That was one thing where he wanted to go in there. Well, look, let's cut down these retro fees as much as we can, so at least we get kids playing our sport and not getting deterred from the prices they're paying. And I think that's massive. Like that, for me, that's huge, and that's been huge for everyone. There's some of these prices that these poor kids and mum and dad have to put out.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. It's
Soccer's
crazy.
become this business where it's a business upon a business. So it used to be, I make a lot of money playing soccer.
Yeah.
There's fucking coaches out there now that have played one game in the fucking Maltese League, and they're training kids for $2,000 every 6 months.
Oh,
And
bro, I see
mate,
it all the
like
time.
you will not make a team. It's impossible if you haven't done the academy that you have to pay $5,000 a year for. If you haven't a personal coach, you haven't got $5,000 a year for. It's become such a business because I see
Yeah.
I got friends that are involved in soccer and internationally, and it's a fucking business. And if you don't do it, you're not even get look. You said it before. You don't get looked at. People don't even look at you if they haven't got the right manager behind them. That put them in the right place. That it scared so many people off. When I played soccer as a kid, it was $100 fucking Red Joe. And mate, you score a couple. I was a big fat curly haired kid. But I was a striker and I could run off. I was good over 10 meters. And I made some rep teams because I was that big. I had a point of difference. I was a big boy. I could not afford to do these camps. I wouldn't be able to afford to do that private training right now. So I would never have made any rep teams as a kid. And it does scare. Yeah, if you've got a kid that can play multiple sports, normally now these kids can play soccer, league, AFL, whatever, right? And as a parent, you go, oh, what's my kid best at? You go, oh, it might be soccer, but then you go, oh, well, soccer costs him $5 grand, $10 grand a year. Or rugby league or AFL costs him 400. Well, let's go fucking rugby league AFL. And it's something that FFA's got to really step up on. Is the way this game has become monopolised and marketed, where it's like netball in Australia, netball for girls. I run a women's rugby club, right? I've been doing it 5 years because I've got 3 daughters. So I got them to play rugby. I run a rugby club. I'm coach a whole lot of teams and. A lot of girls that come to me come from netball, and their parents are fucking over it. You don't worry about making rep teams. If you don't make a rep team, you go into a B team that you pay $2 grand a year to try make the A team. It's a fucking rule, and it's killing the game. It's the game that like I love growing up with. I love soccer more than I love any sport. I'm a badass Liverpool supporter. I'm a fucking nutcase Sydney FC supporter. I'm a nutter. And it's to see where it was, 20 years ago to where it is now. It's something's going to change, and I think people like yourself, like I said, really, you might believe you haven't got the platform, but you do have the platform to really put the pressure on these guys. And start making the right decisions for the game and not for the fucking business.
And definitely. And look, the thing and the beauty is that with us is that we've done it before. We've done it with NSL where we had to go, okay, look, this isn't viable. We need to start from scratch and put structures in to make it better. Bang, they make the A-League, And I feel like it happened with the NSL. We got complacent, just let it run and whatever. Bang, A-League comes along, get excited. We run it really well, plateaus, and we get complacent. It goes to shit. We know that we can do it. We know that we can do it, but then let's just, I feel like as a football community, that we just do it together. And you know what was funny actually, because I was speaking to Greg O'Rourke, who actually runs the FFA, the A-League. So he runs the A-League, and he was trying to get all the games logistically out before this COVID-19 came, and so he had it all planned, and he went to each club and said, look, this is the best way that we're going to get this out, and the clubs will get their money, but we need to work together. And then all of a sudden, every single club just went, okay, put their swords down, let's work together. And he was like shocked. He goes, Archie, this is the first time in as long as I've been part of the football, that everyone's kind of put their egos aside and says, look, whose cock's bigger than who, and go, let's do this. And they actually came to an agreement. And thing was, unfortunately, that it didn't eventuate. But the thing is, we can do it. I mean, we can do it. So I feel like it's just all these different egos all over the football community and clubs and competitions that ruin it there because it's not like as much as we say it's a family, and I wanted to believe it's a family. There's still too many fractions the thing is that if we could all pull together and come to what this just before we had this break, but as a whole football community, bro, man, it's we can do this because man, we're still the number one sport grassroots level in Australia.
By a mile as well.
By a country mile, man. By a country mile. And so it's the ingredients that are all there, man. But it's just scrap all these fucking egos and let's just get back to it. And obviously, what it should be kids playing football, getting out, enjoying it like we did as kids, but still just to have that dream and ambition and to to still maybe play for a national team, to still maybe play for but then go overseas. I feel like it's lost. I go to grassroots football for the first time out of A-League. I see one kid that has a little bit of quality, 18, he was 19. And I said, man, you got a bit of talent. He goes, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to make A-League. I'm going, well, what? Why not? He goes, well, I'm not going to get the opportunity. And that's the mindset of everyone. That's probably the mindset of every 18, 19-year-old at grassroots level that maybe just doesn't develop quick like a younger guy does. It might take him a little while to develop, like an Andrew. I use Andrew Naboot because that's what happened with him.
Yeah.
So and it just gets lost. But that's the mindset. So I remember NSL. We used to have trials. We used to have tests.
Yeah.
You know, you rock up 5 or 6, 10 players, and then all of a sudden, man, he's good. We'll get him. Like it's, and then
we
you start
go watch the Marconi trials. They used to do it at Marconi Stadium, and there was 120 people, 150 people.
Mate,
and it was open. It wasn't invite. It was open. And like every year, the same old heads were still. Waratifi, I remember, had the trial. Like you're talking about Francis Waratifi was in a trial, and. But that's how it was. That's the way you made it back in the day. And
but that's just still the way you make it over in Europe in some of these clubs before you kind of, well, that's how some of these players have gone on and had massive careers. You think they just walked in? They've got a trial. They would have had the trial. They would have had to been seen. It's just, but it's so funny. The whole time that maybe early days in the A-League, I did see it a little bit, but after it was nothing. There was nobody. There was no trials. There was nothing. We might have had the odd 1 or 2 players come in and have a little go, but mate, it used to be like constant trying to find that little diamond in the rough. But it just gave belief and opportunity and someone to still follow their dream that it's a possibility. You know what I mean?
But when you talk about Socceroos or well-known Socceroos, you're a top 10 in the last 15 years, and that's an easy one, right? Top 10 recognisable, right? Top 10 recognisable, right? And so it's left to people like yourself, and unfortunately, a couple of the other guys, I don't see much involved with soccer at the moment, or at that national level or TV.
Yeah.
So it's left with you people like yourself that are still passionate. You probably have to go out there and go out of your way and actually start taking the reins a bit and explain this to the people.
Well, maybe
help the game.
Definitely. But with me, it's like I try not to get into politics of too much because I don't know too much. For me, I'm pretty much an open book. Like I like people's ideas. I feel like everyone's got everyone does have an opinion, but I see qualities and positives in a lot of things. So for me, it's hard to kind of disagree or sometimes when it comes to decisions to be made. But I mean, I look at surface level. I think I don't go deep enough, to be honest. But like I said, it's probably true.
Maybe something you have to work on then.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, mate, 100%.
Get a bit more bossy, a bit more fucking opinionated. Fuck everyone. Fuck you and what you think. This is my decision. Fuck you.
I don't. But the thing is, man, it's just that my personality. People wouldn't take me serious enough if I did go. Come in there like guns blazing. You know what I mean? But man, I'm passionate about the game. We're all passionate about it. You're passionate about the game, mate. It's sport. Like it's just sport. Like whether it's rugby, whether it's AFL, it's what people love. It's what kids love. It's like we grow up doing it, and it gives people dreams, man. Like if you ask 10 kids, what would you want to be growing up? The majority of them are going to say, I want to be a sports person or something
80%,
like that.
80%.
80%, man. Like it's we probably don't understand it ourselves, being like in our positions on like how important sport is. You know what I mean?
Mate, obviously you had as a kid growing up, you've always wanted to play professional soccer or professional football. You've gone over to Liège in Belgium.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Spent 4 years there. I went through Belgium, just a quick trip through it once. It's a real weird place. It's so old looking but it's so similar to driving down Coburg or fucking Brunswick. It's so diverse with their multiculturalism, right? From what I saw. How was that experience? Like, you went there and spent 4 years there. How was it?
Yeah, mate, it was awesome for like for development for me with football and getting a taste of it, what it was like. Okay, it wasn't a Premier League or a Spanish league, but a lot of players started, a lot of big leagues watch the Belgium football, and they pluck players out from that. And for me, it was like a massive eye opener, an experience, because coming from Australia to there, it was like it's a different mentality. It's like you step out on the pitch, it's like you can't have any off days. It's 100 miles an hour, and they get stuck in, because you've got people from all over the world vying for a spot that puts food on the table for family back in Africa. You know what I mean? It's not like Australia, where it's like, okay, we turn up, we play, we have a little kick, we have a little fight, but then we laugh and giggle. We're back down by the beach having a beer, whatever. It's not like that over there. So for me, it was like a real eye opener into that. I had to change my mentality and the way that I approach football, professionally, and my aggression that I needed to show. And it was an experience for me, because I went over there, and the way that coaches are, it's like if you're not succeeding, they're out. And so I went there with the coach that brought me over, and the next year he's out, and then all of a sudden I injure myself with the new coach. He doesn't like me. We just didn't get on. He puts me in for 8-9 months in the under 13s team, trying to just break me. With playing with like
What's the under 13s? What do you mean, like under 13s team?
Yeah, like maybe a 14, 15s, man. Like, I had to train with them because I wasn't allowed to train with the first team. And mate, that's in Belgium in the winter, man, like at night, because that's the only time they train. It's like, man, what the hell? Like, it almost broke me to the point where, like, I got to get out of here. Like, I tried, but it just wasn't happening. It really put me in the wilderness when it came to football, and maybe even on the radar with the national team. And then and it's funny enough, it's like the guys got rid of a couple of strikers the next year after, and they're sitting near relegation, and all of a sudden, like, I'm his favourite, and I get brought back in the team, and then I actually saved them with some goals that to save them staying up. So it was a real eye opener that it made me. I grew into obviously thinking, like, I can't take things for granted. Like, I never take things for granted. Not when it comes to football, man, because my path's a little different. I've worked in an abattoir, man, in Blaney. I worked in kitchen hand, like in a Chinese restaurant in Bathurst. So I know what it's like to do shit jobs, man. And so when I got the opportunity at Morwell, everything after that, I've been grateful for, like, really, really grateful for. And I think being over there gave me another appreciation of what I have, and to be grateful for, and how quickly it can just be taken away from you. So, and that was my lesson over there, and enjoyed it. And actually, funny enough, I could have stayed there because I had the best year I've had over there. On my 4th year, that was my last year. But Melbourne Victory called Ernie Merrick, my ex wife now, is like pregnant with a second kid. So for me, it was like a family reason. But mate, I tell you what, it was probably the best decision I ever made.
Was that the reason why you went back to Victory?
Yeah, like he told me that. Obviously tough being over there. Not an English-speaking country. You're just there with your partner and your little baby, and man, it's not rosy. Like, my club over there was in financial, it was disarray. Tough. Yeah, disarray. It was finding it hard to pay players. It was points there was like 2-3 months I was going without getting paid, and it was like I had to ring my parents or my ex's parents to just get money for nappies, like, or food, just because you're getting told, okay, you're going to get paid, and you don't. And what can you do? So those are some of the hardships that I've had to deal with over there. And it's a lot more difficult when you're on the other side of the country and they don't speak English. So again, that's another thing that it's not all glitz and glamour when you go overseas. It's still a grind, especially at some of the lower clubs in European
Europe.
leagues. You know.
Well, you came back. You got Ernie Merrick brought you back, but then you went on loan to PSV Eindhoven, right? They're fucking giants, right?
Oh, mate.
That's a different. You talked about scavenging for fucking money at Belgium. These guys are the opposite of Holland. Like they're a top two, top three team of Holland. You only played 2 games. What happened?
Well, man, the funny thing, this is such a funny story. So when I went over there, like a couple of their key strikers got injured, and because Hiddink loved me from Socceroos, and it was because the season here finished early because of it was only shorter seasons early on in the A League. So I was going to be out of football for a long time, and he put me in with the first game in Uruguay. He seen something in me, and he thought that he could obviously take me over there and I can do something there. Oh mate, I was buzzing, and funny thing is, man, I had this fucking ingrown hair in my stomach, and like
I thought you were about to put your balls.
No. Oh, look, it's probably the same size, but look, And I'm on the plane, and whenever I see like a pimple or something that needs popped, I try to pop it, So for the whole trip from there to mate, I'm squeezing, I'm going into the toilet, I'm like, oh, and this thing just blew up, man. So I was literally supposed to go to get into Eindhoven, do a medical. Man, I'm playing that week, or like I'm in a team. I rock up. And I'm like, man, I'm fucking crook. They had to actually cut this thing out. Like, so it was like a big gash that they had to cut out, put in a sec. I couldn't train for a couple of days. So that was me going straight into PSC. And then after that, the strikers got better. They didn't miss a chance. I think the whole time I was there, they just won. Like they're just winning games, they're scoring. The couple of times early on when I came on, like I was sitting on champions. Look, for me still, it was an incredible experience, man. Like PSV, we end up winning a championship. I sat on the bench for Champions League games when Leon, Jorginho, all those guys were there. So, mate, it was fucking pumping. So, I mean, it was an experience. I knew that I went over there to get some fitness for the World Cup. But there still was in the back of my mind, I can really do something here. It just didn't happen, and and that's cool. But fuck, man, I was at PSV. I played for PSV.
Fucking Giants.
Yeah, man. And that in that period too, like man, they were the bee's knees, especially in Belgium. I mean, sorry,
early 2000s. Yeah, they were fucking animals. Yeah, like Ajax. I grew up being an Ajax supporter, and
so did I.
But PSV in the early 2000s were just on fire. They were fucking great.
Yeah, well, mate, I was Ajax with Kluivert and Davids, all them. That
great era.
Mate, yeah, that Ajax team was incredible, man. Yeah.
Now, 01, you've obviously went to Belgium, but you've had your Australian debut as well. Like I just said previously, you mate, I think you've been a bit hard on yourself. I still believe you're a top 10 Aussie representative the last 10, 15 years. And this is from a fan that doesn't know you. This is from a fan.
And a Sydney fan too, which is
Sydney fan.
even better,
You suck, aren't you?
Oh, mate, please, you've said a lot worse than that, I'm telling you.
But mate, it's such a checkered fucking history with Socceroos, man. Like 01, you started with Frank Farina.
Yeah.
Was the coach Frank? Yeah.
You've
obviously debuted Colombia. You've scored those fucking 13 goals, and still a world record to today, isn't it?
Yep.
And mate, you went in and out, and you got dropped off in 03, and I think you went back in 05 with Gus Hiddink. Mate, what was the issue? Like you've been in and out of the system for so long. I know we've had great strikers, good finishers.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't the greatest time for you to come in because it's not competition.
It was tough.
But what there must have been? What was the issue? What was the problem?
Man, look, I definitely players. Like when I look at the players in the positions they were, and in my position and where they were playing, man, it was always going to be hard. But it's just being given the opportunity, and consistently given the opportunity. I just feel like back then it was probably hard because there wasn't many Socceroo games. nowadays we play for Asia. Back then it wasn't, and so the games were few and far between. So I can understand when games are, you're going to pick the guys that are playing, Premier League week in, week out. Like obviously,
well,
and their quality, like no doubt about it. Frank Farina had his favourites, and that team basically was no one could get into it. Like it was tough, man. Like it was just tough. And when Hiddink came in, it was amazing because he's like clean slate, everyone, and then you start to see some of the ones that were certain starters back in the old Frank Farina days, all of a sudden not in the mix or certain so. I think that was a lot of the time in my era. Hiddink came in and gave me an opportunity, man. It was amazing. Then Graham Arnold came in at the time and kind of got lost again. Again, because he had his favourites and look, I love Arnie. I think he's an amazing manager and
it's a great fucking player as well.
Yeah, and still, man, you still got the players there that was at his disposal. So, but it was just opportunity, and for me, in a way too, being in the A League was tough, and that made it tough to crack into the Socceroos because players were playing in big leagues,
Well, it was big news. So A-League, we 20-man squad, we got 3 A-League players, mate. It's like it's big news, but all it's doing is degrading the fucking national competition, really, by them saying it that way. But again, you can't, if you're playing for, Schwartz is playing for Middlesbrough and fucking killing it. You're not gonna. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, mate. Paducah's at Newcastle United, Harry's at Liverpool, Timmy's at Everton. You know what? I mean, most of them are playing Premier League. So for me, I can understand that. Different era, who knows, maybe differently. But I mean, still to be kind of involved in that. And man, when I look at it, and I was speaking about it the other day, is that when I look back on my career, I've been part of pivotal moments in football here in this country. Like, 2005 when we qualified for the World. Yeah, we'll go qualify for the World Cup. Man, was phenomenal, man.
Greatest feeling. Like I watched them lose to Iran. I watched them lose to fucking Uruguay. Mate, I used to cry when they lost to Iran. I cried. I think that was 97. I think I'm pretty sure it was 97.
Yeah.
And then we lost to bloody Uruguay. Before that, we lost to Argentina. Before that, and it's like when the fuck is this curse going to end? And then in comes Suarez, and we got. This guy's supposed to be the bee's knees, and we're fucked. We're gone. That's what I thought.
They've got Rakova, they've got Florin, Forlan.
Gus Hiddink will forever be our god in Australian soccer. Because he got us through and got us there.
There was a lot of luck involved too in that, but still you got to make your luck, and we did. So that happened, and then being part of some World Cup qualification, getting going there. So they were amazing for me. The A-League first grand final here in Melbourne, 60,000 people. Mate, I look back, it's been a pretty crazy ride. And I mean, I would have loved to have played more games and experienced more with the Socceroos, but it just is what it is. What it is. It was what it was. But man, the quality of players, I can't say. They're just amazing.
How does it feel? But again, I'm not. This is not a diss, man. This is because I actually didn't know this until I researched today. You are like we say about. We always talk commonly in boxing. We say that one of those fighters that should have been world champion, right? How do you feel? Not like. You never played a fucking World Cup game. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, mate.
That's so bad. I actually felt sorry for you when I started reading. I'm looking going, fuck, for sure he's played a World Cup game. I'm going, fuck, he hasn't.
Yeah.
How does that feel, mate? Does it burn inside you? Or I know you probably don't hold grudges and shit. You're not that kind of personality. But how does it feel, man? Like, that's fucked. That's really bad.
Yeah, it is, man. But when I think about it, there's people in sport that I idolize that haven't won the pinnacle of whatever their sport is, and I feel like if I'm still seen in a certain light regardless of not playing a minute in a World Cup, that still brought memories and joys and inspired people. So for me, I can't be.
I don't like to dwell on it.
I don't like to, but it does. It does when I think about it. Like, obviously it does. I mean, there was a time when we were all warming up for. He said to the bench, "You're warming up, and this is against Italy." So, yeah, man. Like, we're all. Mind you, that probably everyone that was warming up that tells the same story was like, "Yeah, I was going to come on. I was going to come on." Yeah, but maybe bullshit. You're going to come on, but who knows? But I mean, for me, it's like World Cup's amazing, man. Like, I would have loved to have played just a minute to walk out, but I feel like, and it's just as hard, and you appreciate it more getting there and what you go through to get there than actually be there. But that's probably me saying that because I haven't played a minute. But,
that's especially 06. Like, now it's all changed. Asian qualifiers, it's a lot easier for us to get through.
Yeah.
Back 06 and prior was fucking basically mission impossible. So fucking hard.
Yeah, man. Well, look, in 2014, I felt like I had a really great opportunity, even at the age that I was, to go to a World Cup with God, he's just skipped my mind now. The one that got sacked just before the World Cup. I love him too. He's awesome. Holger Ossick.
Yeah.
Loved him. Like, I loved him, man. It was tough for him because it was like it was a really transitional phase of the World Socceroos, I reckon. There was a lot of older players, but a lot of those older players got us to the World Cup. I was part of that, and I felt like this is an opportunity that I'm going to get some, because he loved me as a player, my work ethic, how I was around the players, and I love that, and I love that about him. Like, and then all of a sudden, I feel like, obviously the conspiracy, we play against Brazil, get flogged 6-0, and then we got another game against France. Like, fuck, man, these countries are amazing. Like, even if we've had quality squads playing good football, we'd still be bloody. Yeah, it'd be still bloody hard.
It's basically impossible.
Yeah. So already, I reckon they've got him lined up, execution style, to get out of the job. And all of a sudden, Ange comes in. I'm thinking, okay, I've worked with Ange at Melbourne Victory. He knows what I'm about. He said early on that year that I want to get you more involved with Socceroo, which I was already, but he said that, and I wanted to work with Ange because he's had success domestically. I thought, amazing. As soon as he gets the job, I'm nowhere. Like, I'm not nowhere. And I actually rang him and I said, man, what's going on? He didn't even answer my calls. I saw him and I went up to him. I said, Ange, I just, just tell me I'm grown. If I'm grown up, man, if I'm not going to be there, just tell me. Oh, in 3 weeks, bang. No call, and then I see the squad. I was so gutted.
So surprising. Even the squad, like, not the squad.
Not even in the squad, man. But there was a lot of the guys that got us there that weren't, And I felt a bit. Sorry, that just cut out there for a sec. But I was a bit dirty on Ange for a while. But then when you look at it and you realise that was an opportunity for him to come in, clean it up like Hiddink did. You kind of go, okay, it is what it is. And look, I love Ange. I think he's amazing. He's a great coach. He's inspiring. And, there was that little period there when I held a bit of a grudge, but it is what it is. And now he's had huge success. And every time he sees me, like, we embrace each other. He came to me 10-year testimonial, champion, guys. So look, it is what it is in the moment. Sometimes you don't. It was probably new for him. How do I manage all these different players in a way? And it just sometimes you got to make those hard calls, and
it's so much pressure as well. Like, I heard Ange is not. Again, I'm real close to all the rugby league side, union. So I don't know that. I only hear what people tell me about A League or about soccer. I heard he's a bit cold. He's not the most approachable person in the world. He's not the most.
When you know him, and you kind of, if you're not, like, maybe it's like sometimes he shows a little bit when you're in that sort of bubble when it comes to football, but when you're sort of out of that and you're not involved, man, you can chat, you can talk, you can have a laugh, you can drop a text and say, "Oh man, congratulations!" You'll reply. It's like, that's cool. Like business is business, man. It is. Sometimes you're gonna like it, sometimes you're not, and that's just the way life is. That's just life.
Talking about business, you played at the Victory for 11 years. You are the Melbourne Victory and A-League leading goal scorer of all time, most appearances of all time. No, is that correct? No.
Bessart's taken up.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
But mate, you've played in every premiership they've won. Yeah, that's correct.
Well, when I was playing, yeah. Like
I won recently last year. The year before.
They won.
Oh wait, 18.
One or two more, maybe one more.
One more, 18. It was the year after CBM.
Yeah.
Mate, but it was before that. So you've basically 2016. Your contract's not renewed, right? You're a stalwart of the club. You're like obviously played with the greats Muscat, Milligan, Allsop. You're one of the greatest players that club's ever had, if not the greatest. How did it feel that they made that decision not to renew your contract? And what was the reasoning behind it? You're still playing good football. You weren't playing shit football.
Well, that was a hard one for me to take, bro. Like it was hard. I could understand that Kevin had to make a decision about, about maybe the squad the following year. But what kind of upset me at the time was that you've got me in a different role, which I've accepted. But then the role that you've got me in, there's no one else that could do it better than what I can. Still, So that was my thing, and that's what upset me about it. And especially everything that you've given to the club, and it's hard pill to swallow. But when you look back on it, it's those decisions that need to be made, especially when certain players are coming at an age, and you need to blood new players coming through.
Yeah.
One thing that I didn't quite like about the whole saga was that I was offered an ambassadorship after that year for 2 years, which was awesome because not many clubs do that. But then the thing was that I wasn't allowed to go play with any other club. So the thing was, like, you're telling me that when I still feel like I've got more to go, that I can't have an ambassador role that I felt like that I've earned because I go play for another club. So
in the A-League or any club?
Yeah, A-League, any club. Yeah. A-League.
Yeah.
So basically, you're telling me to hang the boots up, is what basically it was. Yeah. And I had to think about it. There was a chance that I might have gone to Wellington, but you look at some players or some legends from other clubs that have made that decision to go just for a year, just because they felt like they could, or 2 years. And people have a perception of it's like chasing the money or whatever like that. But sometimes it's just that they want to play and they feel like they can still play. But I made that decision that I'm going to stay and I'm going to do it. And it actually worked out better because now when you think of Melbourne Victory, it's like you obviously think of me, I think, because, I didn't go anywhere else.
First name comes up in the head at all times.
Yeah, so that's nice, man. That's nice.
Kevin Muscat is probably second behind you, and he was a fucking mongrel of a player. I would have hated to have played him, mate. He's the worst defender I've ever seen in my life.
I'm lucky I'm on his team. I could tell you that.
How was it? Like, were you mates and he made that decision? How'd you feel? Like, are you mates or?
Yeah, look, we've been through a lot together, and obviously players have different personalities. When you look at both our personalities, sometimes it might clash. But look, we have the utmost respect for each other, and I respected him that he came to me and told me, and sat me down, and it was emotional, and I seen it was emotional for him, and look, he's got this persona of being his hard ass, and I feel like he's slowly mellowed out a lot over time. But that's life, and that's experience, and you learn to deal with situations differently, man. And I feel like he's done that, and I see him growing every time that I see him on the football pitch or even doing an interview. It's just I'm glad that it came from him, because we basically played and coached. He coached me the whole time I was there and the whole time he was there. So there was no animosity. He had a job to do and he did it and made the decision, and it is what it is. A little dirty on the time, but it is what it is. And,
you seem to be really good at building bridges and getting on with things. It's it's emotional decisions, and you seem to get over them pretty quickly and in the right way. More people should practice those mentalities.
Well, man, look, I'm learning. I'm still learning. Like, I mean, there was I'm not kidding. Don't kid me. I'm not kidding you. I was still a bit dirty on it. Like in that time I was, but like I said, I've done a lot of work on myself and realised that people are just trying to do the best they can, man. And it is, and like I said, it is what it is. We move on.
Yeah. Well, we've got some viewer questions. The first one's from Scott Penyaha from Brisbane. He asked about you being born in New Zealand. Now, he probably wasn't aware like myself. He's lived there for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
But you grew up in what I said, Waikato. But have you got a connection to rugby at all? Like, were your parents involved rugby at all?
Nothing.
Never involved?
My dad's a little white fella, and so he loved his soccer, man. He loved his soccer, and he came from a massive family, but opportunities were few and far between when it came to him playing. So I can understand why he wanted to push and maybe live a little bit through me, but it's always been soccer, man. It's always been in my blood.
Next one's from Mike Messina. He's a great physio. He's a total douchebag of a bloke. He asked, how bad did you feel for American Samoa when you put 13 past them?
Shit, yeah, man. Real bad. Actually, you know what? Actually, only the other week, it was a 19-year anniversary. Next year's the 20th year anniversary. And I actually would love to go over, because they did a documentary. Obviously doing it on the team's performance and where they sort of were ranked in the world, but amazing. The next guy wins. Just check it out. It's a laugh.
Yeah, I'll have a look at it.
Yeah, but I'd love to go back and do something with the guy, man, because apparently he was copping a bit of shit for a long time.
Did you miss a shot that day or not?
To be honest, bro, it didn't. Like, it was like the grand final when I scored all those goals. It was like, literally, I hardly touched the ball, and everywhere I was, it just went in. But to be fair, man, there was no defending, so it was pretty easy.
This is from David Kelly from Sydney. How did you feel after you chopped the legs of that poor ball boy recently?
You know what? It's funny, man. It's since my time with Fox, all the shit seems to happen with me. There was this one boy that I handballed the ball, the VAR, and he said he didn't, and then all of a sudden it's like, fuck this, fuck that, and that's live on TV, and it happened to me. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm running along the sideline, and I like to have a laugh with all the kids and all that sort of shit, and fans when I'm still there. So I saw this ball, and I thought, you know what, I'll show a bit of skill that I've still got. And I didn't realise the ground was a little bit dewy, and man, I came fucking motoring in, and I tried to slow down because I was going too fast. Just the legs came out. This poor kid, I just snapped him. 2-footer, man. It's probably the best tackle. It's one of the dirtiest tackles I've ever done.
Basket styles.
Yeah, and it's so funny. They copped. It was on. It was so funny. They copped it on Fox. They showed it. It was fucking laugh, man. It's a laugh. I still cop shit from the guys there when I go to the games at West United. Yeah.
Last question. Michael Yasmin has asked, he's from Perth.
Yeah.
How hard was it in Spain? You seemed a little lost in a video posted last year when the coach was giving you instructions. And do you wish you went to Spain a little earlier in your career in that kind of a position?
Mate, I would have loved to. That was actually one country that I wanted to actually play my football in because it suited me. Back in the day, like Spanish football was like,
faster and smaller guys.
Skillful, not so physical.
Yeah.
Would have suited my style, I believe. And just the opportunity didn't come. Funny enough, it comes when I'm like, about 20 kilos overweight, but I got to share it with my son. They paid for me and my son to go over. I finally lived a childhood dream growing up playing in Spain. Okay, it was like right in the division.
Where was it?
In Racing Murcia. So yeah, it was awesome, man. It's actually like it's the football, believe it or not, was still good, man. Like I rocked up thinking, okay, they play at this division. I'm not in much shape, but I should be all right. It was still pretty tough. Like it was still tough, but I enjoyed it, man. And funny enough, the guys actually asked me to come over again for another because they've actually been promoted.
Yeah.
So they want me to come over again and play maybe a couple of games. So who knows? I might be going there again.
Well, we got the scoop, mate. On the scoop on the
maybe,
lockdown.
maybe, man. I'd love to, man. It's like it's.
What was he saying to you on the video?
Oh, in the video. So, man, the coach is an absolute nutter. Like he's a nutter, and he's well known for being a nutcase. And the reason I went over there too was like the people involved are Australian. So the assistant coach was Australian. So he'd been there a little bit earlier, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm learning Spanish really great. Like I can understand." So I get to the game, and he's telling me all this shit in Spanish to the Australian guy, and he's trying to tell me, but I don't even think he had an idea what the guy was telling me. So we just basically said, go out there and just try to keep your position. And then, so that's what I did. And then all I'm hearing from the sideline is, Vamos, Thompson, vamos.
Run, go.
He doesn't, and when you look at the translation, it's like, he doesn't even know where to run. He doesn't even run. Like, I'm like, man. So it was lost in translation only because my translator didn't bloody speak Spanish. So it was funny, man. It was funny.
Yeah, it's a good video. It's a very good video.
And that video went all over Spain, man.
Viral,
So that was viral over Spain, man, because the guy's well known. So they got their because it was a bit of a hype for me to go over because the world record and international and so they got everything they wanted. So there's maybe another opportunity to go,
Let's hope you have a second chance today.
Well, you never know. You never know.
Mate, we're at the 1 minute wonder now. So I'm going to ask you some questions right at the end of the show. Just whatever comes to your mind, just answer them first word that comes to your mind.
Okay.
The best player you've played alongside?
Oh man, Mario Smitu. Yeah, man. Gun player. Romanian, played in Belgium.
Best player you've played against?
Messi.
Messi? Oh, fuck, that's great.
Yeah. Awesome.
Jesus. Toughest player you ever played against or with?
Probably Musty. Yeah,
Well, he'd probably be for the next question. Grubbiest player you've played against. Have you played against him? No.
You've
only played with him.
Thank God, man. Yeah, it was like Sash was a bloody grub.
Was he really?
Yeah, oh man, he got stitches still from when he cleaned me up when he was playing at Sydney FC. He bloody welled me, man. And
one regret about your career.
What's that?
One regret about your career.
No regrets, bro.
None? Good man.
Nah.
Good man. That's very content. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Best player in the game today in Australia?
Shit, man. 1 minute's not long enough to think. Shit, man. I don't know. I like that. Riley McGree.
Well, McGree. Favourite team in the Premier League?
Arsenal, because my boys Arsenal. So
this is easy then. Next champs of Premier League, you won't pick Arsenal.
No chance, mate. Liverpool. Man, I was a massive fan of Liverpool growing up. So
they better fucking get it, mate. I've been waiting 30 years for this. This is fucking bullshit. They better get it.
They need to. As Sydney FC need to get this year's one. Liverpool need to get theirs.
I hope so. Who's your AFL team, mate?
Melbourne Demons.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm a massive, mate. Demons is all.
Oh, mate.
You can't see my backdrop, can you?
Nah.
Ah, fuck, I've got a big Demons jersey up and everything.
No, I'm a D fan, mate.
Oh, you're a sick cunt, mate. That's it. You're by far and away my favourite now. Legend. Mate, who's your NRL team?
Storm, mate.
It's me as well. Good man.
Yeah.
I'm Victorian. I'm going to go for the Storm.
Yeah.
All right, a couple of fight questions. Who wins, Tim Zoo or Jeff Horn?
Zoo.
Everyone's picking Zoo. Everyone.
Yeah, but I love Horn, man. I met him. He seems like a really lovely bloke, man. But I look at the other guys you just look sharp. I don't know.
One's
I'm
on the
not a
way up,
boxer.
one's on the way
I'm
down.
not-
Yeah, it's,
yeah. That's
You follow the UFC?
Yeah.
Khabib or Ferguson when they finally fight after maybe
Man,
fucking 10 years?
I don't know. I don't know names well. I know the faces, but man, I don't know.
How about easy
I wa-
one? Khabib or McGregor?
Oh, McGregor, man.
Ah,
I love
fuck
that dude.
McGregor.
I love that dude.
Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua?
Well, Tyson Fury.
Good man. He's a
Yeah.
he's a once in a
He's a
generation.
yeah, he's an animal. I love him. Good
So-
bloke too.
The last question and most important, because this will show you're the first soccer player on this show, so it's fucking great.
Yeah.
We'll see where he's all stand. Who wins, a striker or a takedown?
Striker, man.
Hey, beautiful. Well done, mate. Archie,
Yeah.
legend.
Yeah.
Great answer. Mate,
Of course.
thank you so much for coming on, man. Like, you're an absolute fucking legend. I'm actually, out of all the interviews I've done, I'm most excited today because I'm a massive fan.
Oh, man.
Mate,
Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate
and
that.
to hear what you want to bring to the game, it's so
We all
good
do.
because
We all
we're
do.
passionate. We're all the same. Soccer fans have a different passion to them. And hopefully guys like yourself can put the game back on the map. Mate,
Hope so.
thank you so much for all your time. I owe you a beer, so next time you're in Sydney, let us know, bro.
Yeah,
All right?
100%. 100%.
All right,
Maybe
brother.
in the cove. Maybe in the cove.
Yeah, in the cove?
If they let me there, I don't reckon they'll let me there.
You'll be right, no worries. We'll try. I know someone there, don't worry. They'll be right.
Okay.
All right, brother, you take care. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate your time.
My pleasure, brother. Cheers.
All the best, my man. See you, brother.
See you, brother. Bye.